Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Business Accelerator with myself, Adam Strong. And today, we're going to be talking a little bit about preparation for pitching. And before we get started, actually, what I'd like you to do for you guys that are listening in live, use the hashtag live, use the hashtag replay, can do that as well. And do me a favor. As I like to always say to people, PLC, post, like, or comment on the section below. That'd be super awesome. And for you guys that are listening in on the podcast, we'll put all the show description notes as well, and any links that I talk about for today. So today I wanted to talk a little bit about how to prepare for a pitch. Now, interestingly enough, tomorrow, depending on when you're listening to this, of course, I've actually going to be pitching to some angel investors. So today, I thought I'd kind of give you this opportunity to tell you a little bit about some of the preparation that I'm using in order to prepare for pitching. So, in context, let me give you some context. I'm going to be pitching to some angel investors tomorrow on a startup company that I am working on right now, which is all around the ocean plastic space. So so for you guys that are looking to raise investment, if you have a startup company, if you need to get in front of investors or venture capitalists or anyone in particular that's going to help you raise money, I'm going to share with you about some of the rituals and some of the habits that you guys need in order to make what we call a pitch perfect. All right. So before we get started, I know that we've got quite a few people listening in. If you can hear me, see me, whatever it is, do me a favor, PLC on the post or like comment section below. And again, for you guys listening into the podcast, I'll put all the show description notes below. So what is it that you need to do? Well, first of all, think about this, okay? If you're pitching, okay, to angel investors or individuals that you don't really have any idea or don't have too much idea about who you're actually pressing to, so essentially they're strangers, the first thing you got to think about is, how do I create the right impression? Okay, it's so important to crucially hook them in, especially in the first 10 seconds. But I'm going to describe to you guys about some of the things that I'm doing right now to help me to prepare for what I call the perfect pitch. All right. So the first thing, which I think is extremely crucially important, is visualization. Okay. Super important. Visualization. The reason I say visualization is because if you have the end in mind, I can guarantee you that you'll be more confident and you'll be able to articulate in a way. When I say visualize, I want you to visualize like how you're going to feel in the moment. Now, you're probably going to feel like you have like slight butterflies, like when you go into something nervous or you're going out on the first date or whatever it might be. Okay, it's probably those butterfly effect, the butterfly nervousness in your stomach or whatever it might be. Okay, so we want to think about that. So how you feel on the day, how are you gonna, what? How do you going to go in there? Are you going to feeling confident? Are you going to go in all guns blazing? I really want you to think to yourself, like, how am I going to visualize the end in mind? Like, what is it that what is it that you want to achieve, right? What is it that I want to achieve? What is it that you want to achieve as part of the pitch? Do you want to raise money? If so, how much money do you want to raise? Over what's the return on investment? You've got to make sure that you have those things in mind, a visualization plan of the things that what's the goal for you? What is the achievement, the result that you want to do? Okay, super important. So that's the first thing. Secondly, if you can, and specifically who you're actually pitching to, is to actually, what I would recommend is to actually do some research on the people that you're pitching to. It shows that you can personalize your pitch in a way that is more targeted and specific. So, for example, if I know that there is an angel investor tomorrow that is very conscious of the environment, then guess what? I could articulate that pitch according to his experience or her experience. That will create. It's not that I am isolating certain angel investors, but what I am doing is I am targeting towards someone that is more aligned to someone that is interested in what I've got to say. So, super important. Making sure that you're doing research on the people that you're pitching to. Look at their LinkedIn profiles. If they've got a website, for example, what makes them tick, what's important to them, what's been their big achievements, what's been their mistakes. And you can bring these things up during your pitch if you need to. And when you get asked for questions at the end of your pitch, you can actually use that as a quote unquote, because it shows that actually, you're not just pitching for money, you're actually doing your due diligence to see that there is a connection, right? So when you're pitching to angel investors in particular, it's really nice to have that connection with people, because effectively what that shows is it shows that you've done your due diligence, you've done your homework, but also, um, you know, building up this human connection, which again, I harp on about a lot, right? Harping on about human connection, straight away they're going to relate to you. Okay, super important. You're going to relate to you. Super, super important. So that's the second thing. Third thing as well, when it comes to pitch preparation as well. So you've done the visualization. One of the techniques that I use on a frequent basis is actually pitching in front of the mirror. I know this sounds really ridiculous, but if you've got a set period of time, so if you've only got 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever it might be, whatever the set period of time is, okay, make sure that you pitch in front of the mirror, okay? Pitch in front of the mirror, use your phone or use a timer, okay? Because then you can time to see, you can time exactly, you can time your pitch to see if it's on in sync, it flows okay, or flows great, yeah. So flow's really, really important. So making sure that you're pitching in front of the mirror. The more that you practice, the more that you're going to become prepared, the more confidence that you are, the more of a great first impression that you're going to create, which again is crucially important. Um, tip number four with regards to pitching, some of the things that I'm going to be doing as well, is we've got the we've got the mirror in. The other thing is to put it into a particular structure that you're, rather than memorizing word for word, which is generally what most adults do. They try to memorize, especially if they're under pressure, is to actually put it into a particular structure. So, for example, if you have a particular structure with regards to your pitch, and with my pitch, I generally have about 5 or 6 sections. So if I lose my words or I get nervous during pitching, then I can refer back to the sections. Like, where was I? Was I at the problem? Was I at the solution? Was I at the the vision type of thing? So where is it that I was within the structure of your pitch? Okay, because if you have a pitch in your mind, then you know that you're not going to get lost for words. Super important. Put some sort of structure in place. And generally, structures and frameworks are far much easier to remember than actually the whole script, right? Um, and the last one is, try to not beat yourself up if you're not going to be perfect, because no pitch is perfect. At the end of the day, rather than focusing on specific types of jargon-based terminology where they might not have, they might having a clue about your actual pitch, is to actually think about, like, how can I make this pitch like super simple? How can I articulate it in a way that they really understand? One of the things that I focus very much on here, one of my strengths is clarity. So being able to articulate your idea, or if you've got a business that you want to raise money for, is to articulate it in such a way that it's so simple and easy to understand that Homer Simpson would know what to say. Does that make sense? Homer Simpson would know exactly what your business is, exactly what your business is all about. So let me just, and again, I'm going to clarify my 5 points. Okay. So point number 1, okay, which is really super important, is visualization. Okay. So visualization of the outcome, visualization of the results, just visualization. Okay. Super important. A lot of Olympic athletes use it. A lot of people that go onto the stages. So the big speakers like myself, we go through these rituals, visualization, to make sure that we're all hyped up and we're in the zone, right? We're in the zone. So that's the first thing. Second, I talked a little bit about making sure that you create the right impression. So doing your due diligence and doing research on the people that you're preparing to pitch to, so that effectively you can build up some sort of relationship, or you can build some hooks in within your pitch, which I believe is going to be really, really cool. Again, building up that human connection element. So that's that. Thirdly, is pitching in front of a mirror. Okay. I honestly, I think it's so crucially important. Cru- uh, Pitching in front of the mirror, making sure that you've got that flow right. Okay. Number four, timing, making sure that you timed your pitch. Okay, because if you don't time your pitch, okay, and you've only got 2 minutes and you're going over 2 minutes, okay, then honestly, you it's going to go Pete Tong and it's going to go to. So if you've got a specific type of time, is it a 2 minute pitch or 5 minute pitch or whatever it is, make sure that you stick to that time, right? And then the last one, which I mentioned at the end as well, is making sure. Actually, I'm going to give you a bonus one before I get into this one. Bonus one: make sure that you know your numbers. So if you're looking to raise investment, just make sure that you know your numbers. If it's that you're like for example, for us, we're actually looking to raise money for a prototype, so there is no numbers required for this. We just know how much money we need to raise, right, and for what reason. So what does the numbers look like? What's the return going to look like, etc. Super, super, super important to understand the goal in mind. What is it that you want to get out of it? So listen, those are my 5 big tips for how to create the perfect pitch. And I will report back to you guys and let you know how I got on. So for you guys that don't know a little bit about what's happening, so I'm in the regional finals which is the last 20 out of 500 in terms of pitching. So for you guys that are interested in learning more about pitching, make sure you clue back in here. I'll be doing some more tips over the next couple of days on pitching and stuff like that. Anyway, listen. Hope you guys have enjoyed today's show. Do me a favor, PLC, or even if you have listened to this a little bit later, hashtag replay, that'd be super awesome. And for you guys that are listening in the podcast, if you have loved today's episode, do me a favor. Please, please, please give you a 1, 3, or 5-star review, whichever you prefer. Okay, please give it a 1, 3, 5-star review either on Apple or Spotify. I'll be super grateful. Anyway, listen, enough from me. Hopefully, we'll see you again back on the Business Accelerator. Take care, and we'll see you soon. Cheers.